Welcome to Bruffy's UAE Rugby Wrap Up. We wrap up what's been going on in rugby in the region. We'll look at the Sharks Hurricanes games and talk to our guests from Bahrain. And we'll have a quick look at that's awesome versus that's pretty rough. All right, let's get on with the show. Okay, let's start off the show by talking about the UAE Prem. Friday night, the Sharks hosted the Hurricanes. It was the only Prem game this week, and it took place at Al Hub to Apollo Club. Early on, the game was quite close. Sharks had a few opportunities and a few chances to get on the scoreboard, but just really making crucial errors at the wrong times. Hurricanes, on the other hand, took all their opportunities in that first half. Whenever they arose, they were Sharks leaked points off mistakes, so that was a bit of a worry for them. Now, it did seem that the Hurricanes made a lot of changes with some of their big players starting on the bench. I know like Steenkamp and a few others were playing off the bench, so they didn't start their full setup, but they did manage to eke out a small victory. No, it wasn't small at all. It was 61-24. That's a big pile on, big bonus point for the Hurricanes, keeping them in the hunt of the top three spots. They're probably trying to vie for that second position, so they get a home semi-final. Sharks only managed 3 points in the first half, but as I said, they had a lot of chances. They could have scored a lot more, just weren't clinical enough, and they made a lot of unforced errors as well, just simple things with dropping the ball, just looking up a bit. And yes, there is some credit for Hurricanes defense, but the Sharks were definitely their own worst enemies at times, really hurt themselves, and then they just did not know how to scramble back into defense fast enough after a turnover. The Hurricanes were brutal on the counter-attack, and they managed to pierce a few holes. It seemed that if one tackle was missed, the try was scored almost every time. Credit to the Sharks, they put on some points at the end, managed to getting a few tries out there. So well done for them to keep in the game for the 80 minutes, but they really need to step up what they're doing. So that was that. And now we've wrapped up the Prem. Let's get into our two guests. I'd like to welcome two lads from Bahrain Rugby Football Club. We've got the sports manager, assistant coach, and head coach of the second team, as well as being as a regular part of the first team. The hooker himself, Mr. Lindsay Gibson. And then we've got our new man to the club this year. He's not the biggest of guys, but he loves to make big impacts on both sides of the ball. It is the scrum half, Romeo Eckstein. Welcome to the show, lads.
Hey, mate. You all right?
Thank you, man.
All right.
Appreciate
Well, I'm glad to have you guys on. All right. Bahrain, you guys have a awesome club setup. I haven't actually visited because I can never get on the flight. But what helps bring your club success? I know the way that the club and everything's set up must help. What do you guys think, Gibbs?
Yeah, it's obviously it's a massive setup in terms of not just really a rugby club. Like calling it Bahrain Rugby Club doesn't really do it justice. Obviously, we've got a massive membership. A lot of them just there for the social aspect. But we do obviously have a lot of people interested in sport. And the sport's really grown in the last few years, which has naturally led to a bigger membership. But yeah, we've obviously got everything: netball, football, rugby, cricket, even social sections like badminton and whatnot. So that's obviously from juniors right down to under sixes all the way up to senior. And then obviously you've got the golden oldies as well. I think they're probably one of the biggest sections at the club. We've got about 60 of them available each week. So yeah,
I'm sure they're good money spinners as well.
Yeah, they certainly put the money back into the club, that's for sure.
Yeah, all right.
Massive setup.
Yeah, it's awesome. Romeo, you're new to Bahrain this season, and you've become a very important piece of the puzzle. What has Bahrain already got in place that you love, and what do you think you've added?
Adding on to what Gibb said, it's a very, very professional setup. They're very welcoming, especially me as being an outsider, different country. They make you feel at home, make you feel welcome. You feel part of the family, especially when you do like the coaching with the little ones. They look up to you, so you can implement what you know and your knowledge from your rugby journey to them, and help them grow up being rugby players. See that they live their life, their story out on the field, and yeah, you see happy faces. Friday morning at coaching, you just feel like, and the afternoon you have a game on and they come to support you. They're like, yeah, that's my coach playing. It's like it's a nice family environment. It's not sometimes all about the money, but yeah, it's a really nice place to be at the moment for me.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear because obviously with the transient communities, Bahrain, UAE, Doha, all got that similar issue with guys coming in, coming out. There's a few old stalwarts still around. Gibbs, how long have you been at Bahrain?
Yeah, probably too long to be honest, mate. I think a few of the boys would say the same as well. But I've been here for 8 years now. I came for like a little 3 month period. That would have been January 2015, and then I moved to Bahrain properly. 2016, sorry. So then moved to Bahrain properly in the October that year, and I've been here ever since. So,
I'm the same boat. I came out for 2 years, and that was in 2011. So
yeah,
I've been stuck here for a while. All right. So you guys, obviously, you're the only club, well, participating in the big comp here. What are the challenges Bahrain faces? Gibbs.
Yeah, from my side, it's just the travel side of things is real tough. I think obviously the other clubs in the league appreciate that when they come here. It's always a bit of a chore for them when they travel here, but I think a lot of people forget that we have to do it obviously 8, 9 times a season for the first team, and then obviously with the addition of the second team. From a management point of view, it can be an absolute nightmare for me because obviously in charge of booking flights, visas, all this kind of stuff. Especially for these little South African chaps, they're a nightmare for visas. So it's tough. It's tough. You get some long days. Obviously, we try and play our games on the Friday because that's the first day of our weekend. So a lot of teams have been helpful with that this year. But that also means that we travel at we're at the airport for 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're not
And it's
playing
a late flight back. Yeah.
7 o'clock in the evening, flying back at 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're asking boys to give up an awful lot, but in terms of time. But yeah, it's tough going, but enjoyable obviously when you get the rugby at the other end of it.
Yeah, I noticed Div One had a couple of iffy issues traveling and stuff like that. And as you said, getting visas for the South Africans and stuff is hard. I'm married to one, so I know how much pressure the Green Mamba is just to get anywhere. I think it took just to get my wife home to Australia to visit took about 3 months waiting for a visa. So
yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously I have been in contact with you previously about getting teams over to Bahrain. So I definitely feel your struggle, and that was my first time having to be involved with that. So no, the travel is definitely a huge aspect. But obviously having that home club, and it's basic, and what I'm jealous of, like obviously I'm part of the Quins, and the Quins setup is I like the way you guys have your own clubhouse, your own bar, your own fields. That must make a huge difference to training and games and things like that.
You want to go, Romeo?
Yeah, just to add on that, I think I played at a lot of clubs in South Africa, in Spain, like all over the place, I guess. But that is one of the most professional clubs I've played in terms of, can you say, the fields, groundsmen, ground people, they're nice. Like the clubhouses, sports bars, like everything is just accommodating for everyone. Even the supporters have their little like garden. You know what I mean? Everyone has everything, and it's so accommodating, and it suits with the rugby. Like in any other sports we have, it just suits with it. And it's I kind of said my girl is here, and was amazed. Like the first time she got it, she was amazed of the thing we have here, the thing going on here, the swimming pool. We went to the swimming pool the other night, just after a gym, just for recovery, and everything is just nice. Yeah.
That's an awesome setup. Back in the day, I used to play for Sharjah, and I'm actually still a bit jealous of theirs because after games, you could jump in the pool and stuff like
Yeah.
that back there as well. All right, so we'll talk about this season a little bit. You guys are undefeated, but probably I've said it previously. You don't look as confident and finishing games the way you used to. Would you guys agree with that, Gibbs?
Yeah, to an extent. I feel like we're still kind of chasing that 80-minute performance. I feel like we've showed basically in every game so far that we're capable. The odd like little 10, 15-minute burst will run in 2 or 3 tries and kind of put the game away essentially. But then we seem to spend the rest of the game trying to replicate that, but not quite getting there. Whether it's not clicked or we've not quite just managed to piece it all together yet. But I mean, there's so much potential there. Like you see it when we do go through those bursts that we can be pretty deadly in attack. And one thing, our defence has really held up well this season, even when we've not been at our best. So we're kind of falling back on that a bit. But I feel like if the attack can click, then yeah, we could really put a team away. But it's just kind of in fits and starts at the moment, unfortunately.
Probably going on with that, and maybe Romeo, you can speak to this. Discipline's been a bit of a problem. There's been a lot of cards for you guys this season.
We're both guilty of that, to be fair, me and Romeo in the Hurricanes game, so we can't really say too much.
Exactly. Like we both shared a sin bin against Hurricanes, I think.
Yeah.
There wasn't any space in the sin bin. Like there was 3 guys sitting there. It's like, come on, guys. But it's I won't say sometimes it's a discipline problem. I would say like it's more the guys are eager to prove what they're worth, and they like the offside, for instance. You guys are just so eager to go get the guy and shut the guy down there, but then you find yourself offside, and maybe it happens another time, and then the team gets a warning, and then the other guy, for instance, just makes a high shot on the other, but it's not meant like that, and then he gets a card, a silly red card or silly yellow card like that. So I would say it's more doing something for the team and more over eagerness.
Yeah, so it's just about finding that. Like as I said, you guys are the pinnacle of where the season's at. You've beaten everybody you've played so far, but just in glimpses, I know I was at the Hurricanes game as well, where there was I think three cards at one time, and probably you guys stood up really well in defence early on in that game, but just really over eagerness to probably stamp, and then guys getting a bit too excited about doing the right thing or doing the extra thing. Maybe that's finding a way of stemming that. But no, I mean, you guys are an unbelievable team. I think you had really close games with the Exiles early on. I thought what you did well. They dominated a lot of that game in aspects, and probably they had chances to win it. But what you guys did amazing was keep in that game and keep to your structure. And I noticed that's how you guys do. You guys always just fall back into your structure, and everybody knows what's going on. Well, even when things aren't going your way. So, Gibbs, you're one of the coaches. How would you speak to that?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, to be fair. I think Exiles are probably sick of us because I think that's us beat them by 2 points over there the last 3 times we've played them over in Exiles. So we have had the edge on like those close games over there, but then I never feel like we've actually dominated them, if that makes sense. I feel like they could probably argue to be the better team every time they've played us. For one reason or another, we just seem to keep sneaking across the finish line. But like, we know that you can't play like that for a full season and win the league essentially. So like we know we're going to have to turn up and put in. It can't just be a defensive performance every time we play them. But it's quite handy having Romeo there because he's like an extra back row in those games. So could maybe do him to be a bit more of a scrum half next time we play Exiles rather than a back row.
I'd definitely like to remind Martin Manguera about your shot on him.
That's just been one of many this season.
Yeah, he is really impactful defensively, and that's not pretty handy to have. Just loves that aggression. All right. Now, I've got something serious to ask you about, Gibbs. You recently ran a half marathon, is that correct?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So does that mean you're handing in your front rowers card, or do you get that back? Or is
To be honest, I've been trying to get rid of it for years, but I just keep having to play. So,
it... All right. All right. Let's talk. Let's get a bit more fun. Who on your team would you least like to date your sister? Which one of the boys would you least like to date your sister? Romeo, we'll start with you.
Jack first. Definitely Jack. Jack.
All right, and Gibbs.
I'd definitely have to say Alan Morris.
All right.
Okay.
That's a good
That's
one.
fair. That's fair enough. Who would be the sloppiest on team sessions?
Jeez. It's actually probably one of our new guys, James New in the centre. He's we've kind of noticed with him, like he's got about a 3-pint limit, which has been an issue lately because he's picked up man of the match, so he's had to neck one of his pints before we've even left the club rooms. So yeah, he's probably on a 3-pint limit, and then he starts mumbling around the 4th pint, and then from about 6 pints on, it's game over. Just avoid at all costs.
Romeo, you agree or someone different?
Yeah, James and maybe Charlie Farmer. Charlie Farmer. Yeah, sometimes his head is not there. It's just like, all over the place.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
All right, let's try and get you boys. We're going to start one, bench one, drop one. We'll start with position specific for you guys, and then we'll get into try and get you into trouble with some of your boys. We'll start with Gibbs. I'll give you 3 players. Jamie George, Dylan Hartley, or Luke Cowan-Dickey. Who are you starting, dropping, and benching?
I'd start Dylan Hartley. Actually, a bit of a guilty pleasure. I quite liked him, despite the fact he's English. I'd bench Cowan-Dickey, and I would drop Jamie George.
Romeo, will go slightly differently for you. We'll go back to your home as well. We've got Faf de Klerk, Jaden Hendricks, and Cobus Reinach.
I would go with Faf. Yeah, he's been more consistent, more like a live wire, and then I'll go with Cobus. I love how he plays. The speed he brings to the game. He's quick. Yeah.
All right, and then so you're dropping Hendricks in. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can get you in trouble with your own boys. You both have to answer this just to make sure you're both in equal amounts of trouble. We'll start with the big boys. Start one, bench one, drop one. We've got Henry Paul, Dylan Peterson, and Dan Ma'u.
This is terrible for me because I'm supposed to be the forwards coach, so this will be a bit of an insight for the boys as to who's on the bench this weekend.
I'll let you off then. If you're forwards coach, Romeo, you have to answer.
I think I'll play Henry, and on the bench I'll go with Dan. And then my fellow South African Dylan. I'll buy him a beer or something like.
You've heard it here, Romeo. Doesn't rate Dylan. You're out, Dylan. No. All right.
No, it's not like that. Not like that. Not like that. I think he will be more understanding. That's why.
I've saved Gibbo on that one. I'm sorry, Gibbs. In Australia, you would definitely be Gibbo, not Gibbs.
Either or, mate. Either or.
Yeah. You both have to answer this one. I'll let Gibbs go first. You've got Di Evans, Josh Drain, and your sloppy mate, James Newey.
I'd have to start Big Di Evans, my best mate, so he's in easy. I'd put James Newey on the bench. Then that means I'm not the worst drinker in the team, and I'll have to drop Drano.
All right. What about you, Romeo?
I'll start. Josh. I'll start Josh. Definitely. So I've been playing with him, so we know each other. Like we have that the chemistry, if you understand what I mean. Come on. He's
Who
a
you
maverick
dropping there?
fly off.
So who you dropping, Di
And
Evans
then,
or James Newey?
He's got to drop my
and
best straight in.
then Ty's been too solid, so he needs to be next to next to Josh, and then Jimmy. He get,
Sorry, I didn't get that. Which one did you drop? Which
nothing,
one are you
nothing
benching?
personal though. Nothing personal.
You've dropped
So,
James.
have you dropped James or
I'm
dropped
benching that. I'm benching
just
that
bench?
Evans, and then
Yeah.
Jimmy. I'm dropping Jimmy.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Mixed answers. In all good news, your WhatsApps will go a little bit crazy afterwards, and the boys will be like, "Oh, what's going on?" It's happened to every club
I
so
know
far, so it's good.
I've lost
Um,
Josh.
Now, before we leave, is there anything else you guys want to add or talk about or anything like that?
And I'm just really excited for the end of the season. Obviously, it's quite an intense block coming for us. We've had a couple of weeks off now, and then we've got 5 league games on the spin. Obviously, with big matches to come at home, which is quite nice. But
Yeah,
like as we've seen this season, like all these teams, like all the teams are capable on their day. Obviously, Sharks have had it a bit tough at the start of the season, but then adding someone like Ossie to their teams really strengthened them. So we're under no illusions that it's going to be tough to go to their place this week, and then we've got the XL's Hurricanes back to back at home. So that'll kind of let us know where we are. Let us know if we can finish top of the pile going into the semi-finals, and hopefully a final. But yeah, it's a big few weeks coming up.
yeah, definitely. And the pointy end of the season's coming up. It does
Yeah,
seem that
100%.
you guys, the Exiles and Hurricanes, have kind of solidified those top three spots.
Yeah,
The order might change. One or two losses could definitely affect those. I know Exiles are creeping behind you very, very closely. And Hurricanes got another big win this weekend, so they're also up there. And then the Dragons and the Quins are both fighting out for fourth, and both of them are capable on their day. Obviously, you guys had a very close game at home with the Quins.
yeah,
So like their attacking is good. They just let themselves down a bit during the games with discipline or just kind of losing focus a bit. And I think Dragons are a little bit the same. They're both off and on, but when they're on, they're both very hard teams to play.
yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Same.
All right. Now, I hope there's enough footage and stuff. So Romeo, you can put it on your Instagram because we do know you love a highlight and you love a little show on Instagram. I can't get away without giving you some slack. But no, thank you for coming on, boys. It's good to hear from you. It's good to
Obviously.
get the insights on Bahrain.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, mate.
All right, boys. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
and
it was nice. Thank you for having us. Eh?
I'll catch you in Abu Dhabi when you come traveling to the Queens soon.
We'll see you
See
there,
you,
mate.
boys.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yes, sir.
Bye,
Bye
lads.
bye.
Bye bye.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh no, that's pretty rough. Come on.
Okay, so let's look at the good for this week. We've got a shout out to the Hurricanes who managed a massive 60 points. So that is very good. Also to the Sharks, give one team getting their first win. So that is also good. We always got a shout out to the UAE Sevens teams that have been at Arab Sevens. The women's team got third, so that's also very good. And this week's real good of the week goes to the men's UAE Sevens team. They managed to be champions at Arab Sevens, so well done to them. Now, let's look at that's pretty rough. First bit of rough is the Hurricanes twos. Such a mixed bag. Can't string anything together, so they get part of it. Sharks defense in the ones. That's pretty bad. Also, the big fella for the Sharks, I think he's playing number 8. A couple of times he's being set back for kicks and kick receives, but he's not running it back. He needs to run back with the power. So I'm giving him some of the bad this week because honestly, whether it's him or the coaching staff getting him to pass it, why isn't that big fella just running it back with all his power, or why is he back there? So that's the bad this week. Yeah, so that's all we've got for That's Pretty Rough this week. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh no, that's pretty rough. Come on.
All right, so thank you again to our two guests there with Romeo and Gibbo there, giving us some insight into Bahrain. Now let's talk about the Div 1 game. It was also Sharks versus Hurricanes at Albert Pub Tour. Both games actually took place at the exact same time on their two pitches there. And amazingly, the Sharks are on the winners list. So well done to those boys. They managed to get the win and managed to jump up a spot on their table. All right, so they managed to, I think it was a bonus point win as well. They managed to creep up there and win 31-19. Now, Hurricanes' second team seem to struggle a bit at times if they're not got any first grade players in it. They are struggling. It seems their vets are really strong, and their third team is really strong. Their first team is really strong, but they're just missing that middle part at the moment, where their vets might even beat their twos if they're not covering. But well done to the Sharks. That's their first win in second grade. So now all three grades have got a win. They must be happy with that, and they are off the bottom of the table. All right. So while we talk about that, let's talk about the league tables. There has not been much of a change in the West Asia Premiership. There's no changes to positioning. Obviously, we've got Bahrain at the top, followed by Exiles, and then the Hurricanes are closely followed in. Queens are still fourth at the moment with Dragons on their tails, and they're probably hoping to get a win in Doha this week, and then Sharks and Doha to round that out. Then in Div 2, we have a change at the bottom of the table. So the Sharks moved from 9th to 8th, and the Hurricanes dropped down to last place in that. So interesting what happened. They beat Barrel House, one of the top contenders in that league a couple of weeks ago, but just couldn't get the job done against the Sharks. So well done to them. And there was no Div 2 games this week, so that table hasn't changed. So we won't even look at it. All right, let's have a look into next week. There are 3 West Asia Premiership games. All right, the Sharks are hosting Bahrain at Al Habtoor Polo Club. Bahrain will be looking to get another bonus point win. I would say Sharks will be very lucky to keep it under a cricket score. They will get Emosi back from the UAE that he's been at this week, so hopefully he will help them out a bit. But yeah, I think I'd say Bahrain are going to take that by at least 20 points. I'd say they're going to get their bonus. They'll be lucky. The Sharks will be lucky to keep them under 50. The other games are Doha is hosting the Dragons. Now, they had a really close fought game last time. Just depends on who's available and who's traveling. It's hard to pick. I'm going to say Dragons are going to win, but by 2 tries, it'll be closer. It'll be a close enough game. Dragons have to travel with their full team, and it is hard to do. These teams that don't travel very often. All right, and the last game we have is a huge derby up at the Seven Stadium. The Exiles are hosting the Hurricanes. That will be a massive game. It's kicking off at 7:30 on the Friday night, and that will be a huge game. Both teams have been good all season. Exiles are only gone down to Bahrain. Hurricanes kept it close last time. However, my tip is Exiles win by 12. All right, I think they're just too big for those Hurricanes boys. If they play to their structures. All right, and in Div 1, there's only the one game. The Sharks are hosting Bahrain. If Bahrain manage to travel and have a team, I'd say they're in with a good shot. However, the last couple of games, they've not managed to travel over too far. So we'll see what happens with that. If they do travel and they have a team for that, I'd say they win by 2 tries there. Let's say 14 points. They've got it, and that'll be it. And then there's going to be a huge game. Alain hosting Sharjah. It should be should be a close game. Sharjah are flying in that league, only beaten by the Shaheen so far, so they'll be looking to notch up another one. But without Alain's Div 1 team playing, they might be able to drop a few of their bench players and really strengthen up that pack. I'm going to say the mighty Wandies by 7. So those are the games for this week, and that is all we have for the show for this week. So thank you again for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using, even rate it. All right, thank you again. Masalama.